The Clash Royale balance changes are finally out. Today's Clash Royale video, I'm going to show you all the changes that are coming to Clash Royale the 2nd of January, and I can tell you guys there might be a ton of surprises, so make sure to watch until the end. The first change, of course, will be the Little Prince. There are no changes compared to the VIP balance changes, and first of all, they're going to change the Guardian hit points from 1.8k hit points. As you guys can see, it will be after the update minus 11%, so 1.6k still solid, but a small nerf overall, and the damage also gets reduced a bit. So currently, as you guys can see, the range damage is 1 out of 10. It will be minus 9% afterwards, so just 100 damage overall. Supercell kind of says about that something is like, Little Prince has a very high use rate across the board. This is in a large part due to availability, but also because he's a Guardian, a very effective tank and DPS combo in one package. This is like really true, right? The defensive capability with the pushback, you get like a tank out of that. Just like always, like, you always need to make sure that you like have something ready in case your opponent just uses the ability last second, and just like compared to the other champion, just feels so broken. It's doing range damage, it has like free elixir, it doesn't die from fireball, so just feel like overall it works in every single archetype, even a nerf, because it's such a versatile card, as Supercell also agrees on. This change aims to reduce its effectiveness in these two categories, and alongside following buffs to other champions, aim to be even more distribute the use of champions again. So they just want to make sure with the kind of nerf to make him like compared to other champions not as broken. And also, of course, we're going to take a look at something else. Other champions are also going to get a buff in these changes. So after the Prince, we go to the Evolution Archers. So we're just going to go pull them over. The Evolution Archers are currently, I feel like, the most likely the best evolution in Clash Royale. Even I feel like people are really sleeping on Evolution Skeletons. For just 1 elixir, you're able to get so much value. And what I'm kind of saying here is that they're reducing the range from 6.5 to 6, so just make sure that you understand it right. It's just about Evolution Archers, not about the normal Archers. So Evolution Archers, the range will be from 6.5 to 6, minus 8%, but the Power Shot range will be also from 5 to 4.5, so minus 8% overall range, minus 10% overall from the Power Shot range. So what they're saying is, with this change, the Evolved Archer Power Shot window is maintained and still out outrange normal archers, but the overall range is reduced. So kinda you need to make sure to play them a bit closer to get like the full maximum of power damage. I don't know if like how much is that really changing. Of course, the overall damage feels like it's gonna be a kinda, I would say, like in some situations an overall big nerf. So as we kind of take a look here, currently they still have 6.5 range. As I said, it will have like 6 range afterwards. If we kind of compare them to an example like the Magic Archer currently has a range of 7. If we compare to the Princess, of course the Prince has like one of the biggest ranges with 9. Now we're going to take a look at the Dark Golem example. So Dark Golem currently has a range also of 6.5. So a bit of a smaller range compared to the Dark Goblin, but still overall a really good card. And I felt like just like the concept of Archer Evolution is completely busted, so they will still be good after the update. Next up, we got the card which I feel like every single one agrees with the nerf, but with a kind of twist now, because people were kind of arguing that Goblins itself need a nerf. Of course, like Goblins are just so powerful for just 2 elixir, not dying from rage, not dying from zap, just getting so much value because they're like 4, and this is just like so massive. But at the same time, Goblin Drill, Goblin Brawl, all of these cards which are kind of the Goblins are in there aren't really too good, so you just kind of want to find a way to just nerf Goblins and not making like the Goblin Brawl being even worse than it is right now. And the first kind of whip balance change, the Supercell said they're gonna nerf every single Goblin card, and a ton of people, especially Riley, was pretty mad about that. So Supercell decided to just change Goblins only, and they're just nerfing the deploy time, which is a really interesting thing. So kinda the deploy time overall gets a nerf from 20%, so it just takes a longer time for men to get down, which I feel like is a really interesting thing. So what they're saying about this, only stack Goblins have a slight deploy time of 20% like longer. This gives the opponent a small win to counter them, and they overall do less damage if something is target them immediately. So this is a really interesting thing. So it's just about Goblins. Nothing happens to Goblin Bro, nothing happens to Goblin Gang, nothing happens to Goblin Duel. So it's just about Goblins. And I feel like they kind of found a good way around that to just work with the main problem, the Goblins itself. Next up, we got the Rage. This is a really simple explanation. Rage will be a change, or they will have a change of the duration. Currently 6 seconds will be 5.5. I honestly agree with this change. I just don't feel like Rage itself is a broken card. I just feel like it's a really annoying and a toxic card, which is kind of supporting toxic no-skill decks, in my opinion at least. Rage is played in Sparky, in Goblin Giant Bowler Rage decks, and just like in annoying decks which nobody really wants to deal with, and just makes annoying cards even better. Especially Goblin Giant. Most Goblin Giant decks are played with the Rage. Same goes on with Sparky, so I feel like with nerfing the Rage a bit, nobody's gonna really complain about that, but it maybe makes this kind of toxic filthy decks a bit worse overall. Next change is actually a change with Supercell kinda listened to us, to the community, because they overall didn't change, they didn't really change like too much there, but they kind of want to change the overall damage from the Royal Recruits first. But now they're gonna nerf the charge damage from 116 to 107, so minus 8% overall, which I think is really good, because I just feel like when they're charging, that's like so hard for troops to stop, because everything is immediately gonna die, and you just need to defend 24/7, just like, I know, even if you're playing a bomb tour, the bomb tour is immediately gonna die, and you're playing a knight, and all of the recruits are charging on a knight, but now it's gonna survive longer. So what they're saying here is the Royal Recruits gets a lot of value through their charge and charge attacks, so slight reduction to the charge damage deal is what they wanted, and yeah, I just feel like this is really good. So Kundi, as you guys can see, charge damage 296. On tournament standard at least, so these are kind of tournament standard dates, and it will be 273. So this is kind of what I have, like, these are the tournament standard things. Of course, on max level 13, 14, depends which your level hat, it's completely different, but I feel like the easiest to say it always is tournament standard. So from 296, 296, it will go down to 273. Next up, we got the Giant Skeleton, and Giant Skeleton won't get a damage buff, we'll get the hit points buff, which I'm really interested about, or like surprised about. So they decided to give the Giant Skeleton, which already has like a ton of hit points, plus 6% even more hit points. So Kundi has 3-4-2-4. After the change, it will be 3-6-1-6. So almost 200 HP more, which if you feel about it, it doesn't sound like too much, but it's a tank, right? It's a tank which has already a ton of HP, and this might change some interactions. So maybe in some scenarios, it gets the tower, it gets way more volume with the bomb. And what Supercell kind of says about that is the Giant Skeleton has a lot of place in the meta as a whole. The HP buff aims to make it a bit more survivable, helping it reach the tower a bit more often. This is kind of what I said, right? In some situation, it gets more tower. Will Giant Skeleton be meta? Probably not. Next up, we got the Guards. And Guards are gonna get a 7% shield HP buff, which is, to be fair, not really too less, like, right? So currently it's 240 HP from shield hit point. After update will be 256. So in my opinion, this could be like a really big change. So what they're saying is, of course, guards are also a very underplayed in the current meta. With this change, the shield will survive 2 volleys of arrows. So this is crazy to think about, right? Like, making it, like, changing completely interaction against arrows, which arrows being one of the best cards to counter guards. So we're being able to survive arrows now overall. I think this could be really exciting in some decent scenarios when the opponent normally just goes like, an example, I know, there's like giant and then just go out of the guards. This won't work anymore because the shields are just gonna block this, so the normal guards are gonna get damage after the shield dies. So this could be really surprising, and especially with like the Goblins nerf at the same time, which are kind of like fitting in most of the decks, are like the cheaper, better answer compared to guards. They might make guards available or like viable once again in mind control decks and Hog Rider cycle decks. Next up, before the champions, we get the Bomber, and this is like kind of, I feel like, one of the changes which I'm not really happy about, because I know there will be soon an evolution called like Bomber evolution, and I feel like setting it kind of up, making a Bomber already like even the Bomber currently is, I feel like, a really good card in Clash Royale, making already like more broken, knowing that like soon there will be an evolution. I'm kind of scared about that. So instead of most likely giving the evolution HP and stats buff overall, they're kind of putting it now on balance change, which I feel like isn't really the way. So even it's like just a small change, which will be like 3% more damage. Currently it does 222 area damage. After update it will be 230. You don't really think it's too much, but like what they're saying is, here, small increase the bomber damage, but with this they can destroy barbarians in 3 hits rather than 4, and these are interactions which are like really massive, especially because bomber is always a cheap answer on defense, just to splash troops away, generate positive elixir traits, really good against Hoggies, really good against barbarians, really good against Swarm, and I feel like in a ton of different decks, Lava on decks, Electro Giant decks, Golem decks, maybe in Goblin generations, the Bomber will be played again. Next up, we got the Golden Knight, and they are gonna do something interesting. So they're just gonna buff the dash damage overall. Currently has 310, it will be 335 after the update, and I don't know how much it's gonna change. I'm personally, once again, I think I mentioned already in the last balance change video when we kind of talked about like the work in progress balance changes, that they're not changing anything of the charge mechanics, because, or like of the dash mechanics, because I just feel like Golden Knight sometimes is really random. I currently don't feel like it's too random. Might be because like we don't really see them a lot, so they're not really happening too many weird interactions. But what they're kind of saying is about the increasing the Golden Knight dash effectiveness. Okay, thank you for the explanation, Supercell. That makes sense. I mean, if you're buffing the dash damage, you're actually increasing the Golden Knight's dash effectiveness. That makes sense. Yeah, I don't really think it's going to change too much. I don't really think about any interaction it's going to change, just like a bit more damage. Sometimes, of course, it's going to kill troops. Maybe like it's better than like lining up on like a big giant double prince push. But overall, I don't think the Golden Knight will be played, in my opinion at least. I just feel like it's not really too great, especially compared to the LP. Last but not least, we got the Archer Queen. I love the Archer Queen. She got great feet, right? No, but like seriously. So we're gonna take a look at the clock duration. So this is like the invincibility from the Queen, aka the ability. So currently 3 seconds, will be 3.5 after update. And I just feel like this is huge, right? 70% longer will be the ability. And I just personally think this may be broken, because I just feel like what makes the Archer Queen so bad right now is just like it doesn't really make too much sense to use her for 5 elixir. You have like a bit of more opportunities to use like this long range troops. Is it just like the little prince? Is it like the archers? Just like she gets a bit outclassed there, and I feel like making her like 0.5 seconds longer might be a good way to kind of making her better. Even at the same time, I mean, I personally think it's like really good. At the same time, I don't know if that's really the way of Supercell should like do this type of stuff. This time we got like 10 balance chains, normally we get 8. Bringing this in the game after making level 15, I think it's kind of rough for a ton of you guys. I personally love more balance chains because I'm a pro player. I want a fresh meta, especially currently with the Goblin Giant meta. I don't really have too much fun playing Clash Royale, but at the same time, I'm thinking about you guys, like just like upgrading the first deck. Most likely, I know, like a weird Goblin, most likely Goblin Giant Goblins Rage deck, and you see like at least like 2 cards getting a nerf out of that, or like even 3-4. So I don't know how I'm like taking a look, but let me know what you guys think. Is it like right to change 10 cards and stuff? Balance chains, you guys agree with them? You guys think they are bad? I can tell you guys there will be some meta changes, but overall I think Goblin Giant will be still a good choice. But let me know what you guys think about it. I would say I'm out. Thanks for watching. Leave me a like, leave me a subscription, tell me in the comment section, are the spell changes good, or should Clash Royale, should Clash Royale be Clash Royale? Goodbye.